Good morning, Raptor freaks. Alexiot's here. It is Thursday morning, and the Raptors have beaten the Lakers without LeBron and Anthony Davis last night. Very convincing win, wire-to-wire win, led from the very beginning right up until the end. Very good levels of maple syrup poured on to have a nice thick lead for most of the entire game. And yeah, just really impressed with a couple things. Obviously, we should talk about Fred coming out there, hitting a shot right away at the beginning of the game, hitting a three, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay." And then doing a little like Fred pack of different things all during the game. Whether it's a teardrop here, scoop shot here, deep three here, little crossover to behind the back, beat the guy, shoot shot here. And Fred, yeah, he took the challenge of saying, "All right, I'm going to come back and show y'all who I really am." And he really did a good job of it last night. And he did illuminate a lot of different things. A couple of different things were kind of put to rest as far as things that were brought here by TMZ reporting. And also, one of the worries we've had recently, I think we can put that to rest also. And let's go over both of them. After the game, Fred basically told us all that he unfollowed everyone on social media because he didn't like the algorithm of what he was getting on Instagram, as far as in his posts, and that he thought if I just unfollow everybody on my account, I'll get like who I want to see or something. I don't know what the logic was, but he went and unfollowed pretty much every single person in his life, including all of his teammates, his wife, his mother, and everything except for the team. Actually, the Toronto Raptors were the only account that he didn't unfollow because he knew if he unfollowed the Toronto Raptors account, people would really freak out. So really, like, I don't know. He didn't realize that he's under such a microscope, I think, and that any little change like this can be detected by crazy Raptor fans. And I think that this also explains why Shantae's stuff is all private now, guys, is because he didn't realize that people had such an interest in his private life and his lady. And I think that this is just to keep things private. It has nothing to do with them having any kind of problem. In fact, that was the thing that made me think like, well, that doesn't make any sense that they would be having issues right now. And once again, she was sitting at courtside and watching the game and everything was fine. It's just all of her accounts are private. And Fred just unfollowed everybody. And he didn't realize it would cause such waves. And he says it's kind of sad in today's era that this is such a big deal and that people pay so close attention to this. And he got really mad at Michael Grange for bringing the question up at the press conference. But in some ways, Fred, Grange did you a favor because you needed to talk about this and put this to rest. I mean, this is silly. Yeah, it may seem like it's silly, but in some ways, these are the kind of little fires you got to put out just in case. And him explaining the whole situation and why it happened makes so much sense. And it also kind of is just like, you know what, this is stupid. People are really overreacting about nothing. So Savage, there ain't no problem with Fred VanVleet and his fiance and his family, thank God. I knew something didn't add up with what was going on, even if the evidence was there. Well, there's your reasoning. He just wanted to fix the algorithm. I think that lately both Instagram and Twitter have changed. Obviously, Twitter has, and they're showing different things on your timeline and things that you don't want to see. These are the reasons why people are leaving the platform. People like Mick Foley and myself, is that we were seeing a lot of like accounts that we don't follow and we don't want to see their garbage that they're posting. And that's what I worry about with Twitter under Elon Musk, is that he's directing information and accounts to be sent to people to see that maybe trying to influence them. And I don't like that because like I don't think he's like neutral politically. So fuck that guy and fuck that platform. And I understand why Fred unfollowed a bunch of people on there because he's trying to fix his algorithm. So there's the reasoning for that. Put that fire out, Fred. Bam. The second fire I want to put out too is the one that we've been speculating about, his knee and his injury, and maybe he needed surgery this summer. And I know that this makes sense, and what Cool Cat has been saying about like he didn't elect to take it, and that maybe this is the problem. But last night, I have to say, Fred moved around so well last night. I don't think he's hurt. I don't think he has a problem with his knee. He really was moving really good last night. And I don't know, maybe his sluggishness and the way he's looked in the last month could be more attributed to the illness, the flu that he had recently, and not necessarily anything to do with his knee. Because he definitely looked good on his knee and he was moving very well, very quick, very side to side, very like just like 100% Fred. And we really needed to see that because we don't want to worry about him being damaged all year and hurting us on the down low in little ways because he's not fully healthy. Well, last night he looked fully healthy, and I really love what he did. Let's look at his stat line real quick. Fred played 30 minutes, first of all. On the down low, that's really good. Fred only played 30 minutes, that he could keep him to under 30 minutes or under. That's fantastic, Nick. 8 of 20 from the field, 3 of 12 from 3-point line, 6 of 6 at free throw line, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 turnovers, plus 19, 25 points. Now, I love the fact that he got 25 points in 30 minutes. In fact, that's kind of the thing I gauge with those small point guards is, are they getting a similar amount of points to their minutes played? And that's important to me in a way. But 25 points in 30 minutes is fantastic ratio. And I'll take the three turnovers are okay as long as he's getting assists. And he got 7 assists last night. And it was just really nice to see Fred hit some threes again, finally. Now, after the game, he wasn't happy with the game completely. He knows he played better and he bounced back and he shut some people up. But he still said in the interview afterwards, I still need to make more of the shots. Because like 8 of 20 is okay, but he understands he could shoot even better. And he wants to, that's for sure. Now, my other 2 stars, really my first star of the game is Siakam. Van Vliet is my second star, and then Anunoby is my third star. Those 3 guys all got over 20 points last night. Siakam, 32 minutes, 10 of 20 from the field, 4 of 5 at free throw line, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, 25 points at plus 22 for the game. Siakam really did do a couple of things that I was wanting him to do, and that was to show up every once in a while throughout the whole entire game and just carry water. Every time he just kind of got a bucket here or there, kept us going along offensively. It was fantastic because he kept the engine going and he didn't disappear for any long period of time in the game at all. He was very much consistent and like making baskets from time to time throughout the whole game. And I really like how overpowering and how much he's unstoppable. They can't do anything to stop him. It really wasn't easier with LeBron and AD not playing. But I have to say also, the Lakers still on a very good team. And for them to be any good, they're going to need those guys to be healthy. And not only do they need to be healthy, they need Anthony Davis to play as well as he did last week. Like, this is pretty much a prerequisite for them to be even like considered a good playoff team, like to be in the playoffs even. They need Davis to play both ends of the floor and play absolutely incredible, like he has recently, for them to look like a power. If they don't get that, they're still the same Laker team that we've seen the last couple years. A group of like younger players that are green, and then some older guys that are just kind of like maybe on their way out of the league almost. So it's not, the team isn't that good, honestly. Like we saw, they're very equal to Orlando. Without LeBron out there, obviously. And that's what we saw last night. So we can feel real good about the game last night. But in some ways, these are tune-up opponents that are, we need to beat them and do really well and fix and clean up stuff when we play them, when we play the Lakers right last night and the Magic this weekend. These are games that we really need to clean stuff up and get things worked out and figured out for when we have to play even tougher opponents that, like coming back, Sacramento next Wednesday. We've got Memphis and Phoenix looming in the horizon. So, we really need to use these lesser opponent team games to really tune things up, get good and get sound and with what we're doing. And all right, our third star, OG Anunoby, 34 minutes, 8 of 19, 2 of 8 from three-point range. Good to see him make a couple of threes last night. 5 of 6, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, 23 points for OG. And I thought he was pretty good, like in general, just because like he was active. You saw him all over the place. Obviously, he was doing a lot of stuff on defense. And then like we see him getting on the boards and just being physical in different places. Really cool to see OG play well. So those are my 3 stars. Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and OG Anunoby for the game. All right, G's in here. Let's see what G's saying this morning. Good morning, G. Scotty posting Fred is the best FU to the fans, saying Scotty doesn't like playing with Fred. Also says fans need to stop pitting players against each other and let them work it out as a team. I've realized something about society at this point that, in politics, we're so pitted versus stuff that they want to pit people versus each other in any kind of way they can figure out some sort of way that it seems like there would be a versus. And that it's just very much a symptom of our society that there needs to be a versus. Well, there's this side and this side and this side and this side. And this is just like people filling that in this world too. And it sucks. This has always kind of been around to a degree that the fans like see rivalries on the team and they want to try and make them, or they're not really there. So it's weird. In positional battles in the past, maybe like were there people on team TJ Ford versus team Jose Calderon? That's crazy, this kind of stupid stuff. They really don't understand that everybody can coexist and succeed and do well together. That it isn't like taking away from somebody and giving. So once again, it's scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. And these people think they're wrestling promoters making a card saying, okay, it's Fred versus Scotty. Fuck that shit. And it's very true. Scotty really does celebrate Fred a lot and looks up to him very much. And I am very happy that I saw on Instagram a post celebrating Fred's comeback from his slump recently on Scotty's Instagram. And he's not the only one that posted that clip last night either from the Raptors. There's quite a few Raptors that posted, Siakam included. So, yeah, the fans need to shut up. Y'all want to really read into everything so much and look at everything so much. Go ahead, but seriously, use it for your powers for good. And understand that these guys are really very tight and they very much are a team. This is the thing. It could be on the download. Maybe there are a little bit of like, oh man, he's maybe point guard down the road or something like that. Or, but honestly, these guys are team guys first. And that they're instilled in their DNA as people that the team is important and they're not selfish players because they were raised that way. They were raised to be like team basketball players. And that this kind of like thinking and kind of like, being selfish thinking, it has no place on a team like the Raptors because first of all, the coaches would not stand for it. And, guys would get punished if they are showing any kind of weird selfishness in itself. So yeah, I'm glad this guy's doing this. I'm glad all these guys do it. In fact, last night it was really fun to hear C.Boucher's interview talking about how much he misses Precious. He's saying, yeah, he's like my tag team partner. This is something I said months ago that they're like a tag team. Well, now Chris is saying it out loud in the interview. He said, yeah, we're like a tag team in wrestling. And I miss my tag team partner. And I've been feeling like I'm in handicap matches right now. Because it means it's like him against two guys. It's a 1-on-2 because he's missing his partner, Precious. And then Eric Corrine asked him, well, what team would you be in wrestling if you were a team? And he said, we're D-Generation X, and I'm Shawn Micheals. All these guys like Shawn Micheals on this Raptors team. He's also Scotty's favorite wrestler of all time, Shawn Micheals. It's weird to me because these guys are younger, and they didn't see the Shawn Micheals that I saw when I was a kid, which was the Rockers with Marty Jannetty. And then he turns on Marty Jannetty, kicks him through the barbershop window. That was when I watched Shawn Micheals. Well, these guys watched Shawn Micheals after he retired, went away, got sober, came back, and he's wrestling in the 2000s against The Undertaker and Ric Flair and stuff like that. That's the Shawn Micheals they like. But there's like 2 or 3 Shawn Micheals before that, for sure. But that's interesting that all their favorite wrestlers is Shawn Micheals, and that Chris does think of them as a tag team, like a wrestling tag team. So that's very cool. Good morning, Evelyn. What a game, eh? Our structured and balanced team got a big W. Let's go Raptors. Yes, Granny Evelyn. Very nice to see us take care of business against the Lakers. Russell is interesting because he kind of is scary in some ways, and he was very active at times, very demonstrative and moving around and moving quick. And in the third quarter in particular, he was really trying to activate the Lakers to make something get going for them to try and come back. but we really kind of stopped it and kept going and held them off. So Russell only got 16 points off the bench, 5 of 13, 5 turnovers for Russell. Now, I thought they were going to start him, and I thought it was really crazy that they didn't. Because, like, isn't the whole point is that you don't want to start him with LeBron, but if LeBron's not there, why are you still bringing him off the bench? Well, they felt like bringing him off the bench still, and that's just what it is. So last night was fun because I got to watch the game with Naco the Nacho. He did come over and we watched the game, and I was like, Naco, you're good luck coming over and watch the game with me because obviously everything went perfect last night. With the game against the Lakers, it was awesome. Monique saying fans can stop throwing Fred under the bus. Yes, please respect the man. He made you all remember who he is and what he can do and what he does. And he really put it on display last night in all kinds of different ways. And the haters just need to shut up at this point. There's no reason to be slandering this guy. And that I have way more confidence in him this morning than I did yesterday morning, just because he showed me a couple things. He showed that he is healthy, that he's not moving like he's hurt. And also, he put to rest all the TMZ bullshit yesterday by just telling us what is going on in the interview. Fred, I know you're mad at Michael Grange for asking that question, but he did really do you a favor because he gave you an opportunity to clear the air. And in some ways, you needed to do that. I know that you don't like talking about non-basketball stuff in those kind of interviews, but in this case, this is actually pretty smart PR for you to do and go ahead and just take care of the subject. Let's see. Monique's also saying, surprised Scotty wasn't on Twitch last night. Great post-game interviews. Man, go Raptors. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to do it anymore. I think that maybe like he's grown up in a way and he's like, maybe he's matured and he's like, Twitch is too, I can't do it anymore. I don't know what's going on with him and Twitch. It may be that he maybe will be more on it in the off season again, but the season grind, it just isn't realistic. Or maybe, it could be there's all kinds of things like after the game that he wanted to go do instead. Who knows? So I'm not really worried about it. He'll come back at some point, and maybe he won't be on as frequently as last offseason, but I'll bet you he'll be on a lot next offseason also. It's just that really the grind of the season's keeping him away from Twitch. But usually he does like to celebrate after the game and get on there after a win at home. But in some ways, they're not really figured things out completely. And there is a lot of controversy going on around the team. So he may be thinking, yeah, if I get on Twitch right now, people are just going to talk shit about Fred. They're going to say things about the team losing again, some of the games recently. And it's just annoying. He doesn't want to hear it probably. So I bet you that's a lot of it right there. Jay Conda's here. Good to see Jay Conda every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking Raptors. Freddie is back. Good game, LA. Yes, Jay Conda. It's so nice to see Freddie. Like he's been back, but not back. You know what I'm talking about. Like back. Him back. Making threes, making good plays, keeping us going, being steady. And he's not totally fully steady back, but it's way better than what we've seen recently with games where he's only scored 1 point and gotten ejected halfway through the game, or even that game against Boston where he just could not do a whole lot right on Monday night. It was really nice to see a confident, good playing Fred, and you could tell as soon as he hit that first three at the beginning of the game, a huge weight coming off his shoulders and him feeling a lot more lighter and able to just enjoy and play. Now, we need to get him to play that way against tough top teams. And, another part of it was illuminated also. He revealed that a big part of his problems recently have to do with team scheming for him differently this year. That they really are keen on him somewhat like, if PASCAL's 1A, it may be that Fred's 1B as far as like teams making up defensive schemes to try and hurt Fred and try and stop him in different ways. So he's getting different kind of attention than he would even like a couple of years ago right now. And that may be hindering his ability to get really good open shots because once again, he's a shorter guy. If they really are keying on him and maybe before they may have forgot about him or let him alone and he gets easier shots that way, well, they're not doing that anymore. They don't leave him alone. He doesn't get hardly any daylight. And that's part of the reason why he's missed a lot recently is that the defensive schemes that teams are putting together going into the game really have him very much in mind and like focused on. And that is a huge part of the change with his game in the recent months, too. So you couple that in with the flu and not feeling totally well, and you start to understand the recipe for why Fred has looked not so great in the last month. Let's see. Lolita saying, "Good morning, all Raptor freaks. W for the boys. I love it. Go Raptors. NBA champions 2023 Toronto Raptors. Why not? Say it every day. Put it out there. It becomes more and more real, possibly, if we say it every day. 2023 NBA champion Toronto Raptors. NBA champions Toronto Raptors 2023. We'll say it over and over again, and hopefully it can still happen." Tom saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak family." Um, hang on. Blah, blah, blah. It jumped, of course. Fred VanVleet is great. I enjoyed his interview and explanation of the Twitter nonsense. I even unfollowed my mom, and you didn't care about that. That's right. That was a quote. He said, "I even unfollowed Sue Danforth, my mother, and you didn't even talk about that. Everybody just paid attention to the teammate stuff." And then somebody like Savage is looking at his fiance. Tom Duke, I just have to say one thing to you really quick right now about what you just said. Happy birthday, Tom Duke. That's right, y'all. It's Tom Duke's birthday to y'all today, y'all. So please put W's for Tom Duke in the stream today. Say W Tom Duke and happy birthday to Tom Duke, y'all. This is a big deal, y'all. It's Tom Duke's birthday. So we need to celebrate that. And you know what else? Here's a birthday present for you, Tom Duke. Britney Griner is free on your birthday, my man. She has been freed this morning, traded for arms dealer, the merchant of death, Russian idiot, horrible person. There's been a trade in the political world. We need to announce, get to Woj, and tell you that yes, Britney Griner has been traded and she is safe and on her way back to the USA today. Thank God, Britney has been finally freed. And on all days, it's Tom Duke's birthday. Yes, I'm so happy to see that this morning, because was getting crazy. I mean, listen, she missed a whole year of her career. Who knows how much she's wasted away physically, being in a small ass cell over in Russia most of this year, and all the different things she's had to go through stress wise and just everything with it. I really, really want to see a redemption story where she comes back and reclaims her basketball career, and she does some amazing, huge things on the court. You go, Britney Griner, and thank God you're free again. And what a great birthday present for Tom Duke, that Britney Griner's free. Yes. Tom and Fun Guy saying, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir, ski. Yes, sir, ski." All right. Monique saying, as I said on Raptors Tonight live stream last night, Lex, just imagine if Fred had another 54-point game, then fans will really shut up. Let's crush the Magic now. So pumped. Let's go. We got to. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yes, Monique. I stepped in there for just a second just to see who was in there representing. And I saw you and Mike in there. Mike fighting the good fight as usual with Project Truth, Logical Raptors fanatic going crazy in there. And then Monique also, being a good voice, standing up for Fred. And amidst the chaos of all the great food at Real Sports, everybody's talking about the sliders. The sliders. Oh, look at those sliders in front of Jack in that deep dish pizza at Real Sports. They really do make you hungry watching that show. I think that sometimes that Raptors Tonight is more about the food than anything else, because it's so front and paramount right in front of our faces and making us eat late. And being like, damn, I want something like that right now too. But it's midnight, and I'm like, I really want a deep dish pizza, Anyway, yes, I did see that, Monique, that you did say that at one point. I was very silent in there. And yeah, I agree with this. Like, if Fred has another monster game where he scores from 40 to 50 points, it will shut a lot of people up. And I'd love to see it. Oh, I'd love to see Fred do that, and especially against a big opponent. I want to see him do that against a top playoff team, because that's where we want to see Fred play at his highest level, is against at the highest level teams. And these easier teams, we can do some stuff. But yeah, I'm ready for the Magic too. But this is serious. We got to take care of business down there. Now look what happened with the Magic last night. They beat the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George. They visiting Orlando last night, and the score was, let me look at it real quick. It was 116 to 111. The Magic beating the Clippers in overtime by 5 points. So that's not a slouch team in some ways. Like they rose up and got a win now. Well, now they need to take 2 more L's when we come to see them this weekend. And this is the other thing. We get this challenge of two things. First of all, we're playing the Magic on a Friday night, and we have not won on a Friday night. So we have to beat that record of losing every game on a Friday so far this season. And then going to Orlando, playing them 2 games in a row in their building. Let's see if we can sweep a 2-game series finally instead of splitting every single one of them. So there's two kind of difficult tasks coming up with this Orlando two spot this weekend. Win both the games, which is kind of difficult, and then win on Friday because it seems like we can't win on Friday right now, and I want to win on a Friday. So that's a little bit of early preview for the Orlando Magic this weekend and kind of what I'm looking at and seeing. All right, Adriana's here. There's Adriana. Go Raptors. Great game yesterday. Great game, Adriana. I hope you're doing well this morning, and I'll talk to you later. Yeah, good to see you, Adriana. Bishop saying good morning, freaks. Good morning, Bishop. Always good to have your presence here. And G's predicting a win streak coming. I could see that, G. I could see that. Seriously, we went last night. We got 2 games against Orlando. We could have 3-game win streak by Sunday, and then boom, 3-game win streak going in against Sacramento here next Wednesday. Yeah, them's fighting words. Let's see what we can do. Mike's saying salute real ones, Project Truth always. Thank you, Logical Raptors Fanatic. Check out Logical Raptors Fanatics channel. Isaac Campbell's here. Yeah, gee, he's all about a win streak himself. He likes that. Click's here. Good to see Click. Good win last night. We are lucky LeBron and AD were out. That second quarter was brutal to watch when our offense went cold. LeBron and AD could have won the game right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like we did have one of those dry spells once again where we could not score for a while, but thank God we could play really, really good defense on them and they could not score either. Because that really is what kept it kind of even around there. I mean, let me look at that period just in particular. That was a really good period for us in some ways, though, still, because they only scored 16 points in the second quarter and we scored 31. That was a huge period for us to separate ourselves from them in the game. Now, by the end of the game, they actually started scoring more, like 38 points in the fourth quarter, and kind of closed it up a little bit. But we had like a 15 to 20 point lead for most of the game. Now, I don't know. We could say that if LeBron or like if both of them were there, yeah, way, way tougher. In fact, I would say if Davis was there, we would have had a really hard time winning, especially since if he was playing the way he had been playing recently. But LeBron, even if he would have been added into mix last night, in some ways, I think that we would have beat them still. It's kind of a weird thing where it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. It just happened the way it did, and we got the W. Because like a lot of these games this year so far that we've lost and we won, that's just how it is. It's just, we got to go with who's there and what happens, whether it's overtime against Atlanta and we lose this way, or we win games just like we won last night. We got to take it just as it comes. And either way, if it's lucky or not, it's just the season. And we've had unlucky breaks and we've had lucky breaks. And maybe we got a little bit of a lucky break with their injuries last night, but I'll take it either way. It's like Gary said, winning in the NBA is good no matter what. It doesn't matter who's lining up against you. You get a win in the NBA. That's hard and it's tough and it's something to be proud of achieving. So I could see what you're saying. And yeah, it would have been way harder and who knows what would have happened. But we can't necessarily say we would have lost for sure. Nako's saying, good to see you, Nako. Nako was here last night. Really fun to see my old friend Nako the Nacho. I hadn't seen in like over 2 years, and to watch the Laker game and a good victory at that. The Raptors had last night. Let's see. Nako's saying good news for anyone feeling away about the Celtics. Loss. Phoenix was trailing them by 30 the whole time. Better news. Britney Griner back in the USA. Best players, Fred, PASCAL, and OG. Yeah, so see, Nako's got the same top 3 as I do for the 3 stars. But really, in reality, we could add a lot of different guys to that list too. Because, honestly, Gary had a really good game. 6 of 15, 2 of 9 from a 3-point range, 18 points in 33 minutes. He was a plus 16. He had 2 steals. And then Chris Boucher, 7-11 off the bench, 16 points, 7 rebounds. He had 3 great offensive rebounds. And that was fantastic. And then Scotty, of course, he could have been possibly one of the 3 stars for a massive rebounding effort. In 31 minutes, Scotty went 6 of 12. He hit 1 3, 5 offensive rebounds, fantastic. 12 defensive rebounds, 17 rebounds all around. Amazing, Scotty Barnes. 4 assists, 13 points. Now, the thing about Scotty is that kind of stat line is, look, we can see the dominant post moves, and I can say that looks like Kawhi stuff. Well, the rebounding is when I start thinking he looks like Tim Duncan, because getting 17 rebounds like that is very Tim Duncan-ish. And the way he rebounds is very like Tim Duncan. It's like in the team defense kind of rebounding thing. And that's why people got all mad at me last year when I said there's 3 players that I think Scotty plays like. He plays like Magic Johnson, obviously, with his passing and the way he does things in fast break. And then he plays like Kawhi in the low post when he shoots and overpowers people with bank shots and little hooks and really high percentage shots. But then I think he plays like Tim Duncan also on another level as far as on team defense. And this is on the defensive end that he plays like Tim Duncan. He's very much like a stopgap kind of all-purpose defender who can kind of come around and help, but also can play really well one-on-one. But then he's really dedicated to getting defensive rebounds and gets really big, monstrous rebound numbers like this. That's a Tim Duncan kind of stat line from last night. Duncan may sometimes only score like 13 points, but then he's getting 17 rebounds. So that, to me, last night, Scotty was really like looking like a Tim Duncan stat line with so many rebounds. And that was awesome. I love seeing that. So there were a few other guys other than the 3 big stars, the old Raptors, the champion Raptors, Van Vliet, Anunoby, and PASCAL, that really stepped up and played well also, as far as Gary, C.Boucher, Scotty Barnes, and even Koloko. He had an interesting game last night, and he started him once again. But in this situation last night, it made sense. There wasn't going to be any Anthony Davis, and they were going to be a younger Laker team, then it's easier to play Koloko and get away with it. Now, he had a very interesting game. He fouled out, and there was a lot of dispute about his block shots and fouls last night. In fact, Nick Nurse used the challenge on a play with Koloko to save him a foul. And I don't think that was the best time to use the challenge, because basically they just got the ball back. It wasn't like a very good if you do the challenge, who cares if you win or not, because the other team's going to get the ball no matter what. So it's kind of like maybe that's a factor you need to put in to when you're thinking about whether you're going to use the challenge. Well, what's the outcome? Even if you win the challenge, well, they still get the ball inside out because you hit the ball out of bounds yourself. Yeah, that's not worth challenging then, but maybe it is. And this is why it is because they're starting to try and shape the perception of the referees about Koloko, whether he's fouling or blocking people. And that was a clean block, and they called the foul. It was this phenomenon we're talking about recently where Koloko will get a clean block, but they'll call a foul because he's a rookie, and they don't want to give him too many blocks. Well, Nick challenged them on it, and they had to take it back and say, no, it wasn't a foul. It was a clean block. And you know what happened at the end of the game? Koloko had 4 blocks last night. And that's huge because that'll really help his blocks average and get him more up in the leaders of shot blocks in the league overall. And the fact that he got 4 blocks last night is fantastic. I really like that. Now, he missed all of his shots. He only made 1 point, a free throw, missing the second one, 4 rebounds, and 1 steal also. But he was a +9. And I did like that whole, even if that challenge didn't mean anything or help them in any kind of way, because Lakers still got the ball. It was good to see Nick stand up for Koloko and say, look, this guy is not fouling people. He's blocking shots. And I'm going to call you on this, John Goble. And you're going to have to go watch the cartoons and prove to me that he did not block him, where is the foul? You show me the foul. And he's like, oh, we were wrong, Nick. And maybe this is the kind of way you can turn the tide on perception of whether Christian's fouling or blocking people. So that's, in a way, the reason why I like that he called that challenge. Now, really fantastic news about Britney Griner for sure, Nako. Really happy to hear that. And did Phoenix come back and beat Boston? No, they did not. Boston pretty much trounced Phoenix last night. It was crazy. And that's true, Nako. Like the fact that Boston handled Phoenix, one of the top Western teams, so good, and we played them better than Phoenix did on Monday, it does say a lot. And that makes me happy in some ways, for sure. Monique saying 3 stars of the game for her are Fred, Pascal, and Gary, and a bonus on Scotty. You can't go wrong with any of these. Seriously, I think there's like 6 guys that could actually be players of the game last night, and they're really the guys I've been saying: Chris, Scotty, Gary, OG, Fred, Pascal. Monique, Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. The social media era is unnerving. The effect. Our Raptors don't know how famous they are all around the world. Yeah. Yeah. Scotty, it's a little bit like, maybe that's why he's not on Twitch. He's like, he's realizing just like, it could be like you all of a sudden become a little bit like shell shocked or a little nervous or more aware of like, okay, this is how much this reach is and all this stuff. They may not have realized how many people were watching Shantae's Twitter account and like really learning the details about their lives. She's putting out stuff about Fred Jr. and tweets and their kids and when they go to bed and stuff. And, that is putting yourself out there. And, there's a lot of people out there like what I'm doing on here. I'm putting myself out there. In some ways, I should be like, whoa, but I don't care. I don't, there's nothing really that is that I'm worried about on this channel for me. But for them, yeah, you don't want extra headaches. You're in the public eye. And sometimes it's good to be private. And some people are exhibitionists and they don't mind. They'll put their life on blast and it's no big deal. And Scotty's been that in a way so far. But in some ways, he's retracted a little bit and maybe a little bit more guarded and a little bit more private all of a sudden than like how much he was out there like crazy this summer on Twitch. Because it is. Yet Fred did not realize people care enough to figure out what's going on in his private life. And he was putting a little bit too much out there. And now he realizes, okay, I'm going to dial back. And you have that control over it. All these, look at OG. He's a great role model in this department. That if you guys are ever worried about putting yourself out there too much, just ask OG what he would do. And he would tell you exactly what to do. You'll be fine. But yeah, it's crazy. Scotty doesn't realize people in Switzerland care about who he is. He said that. He's like, why does a guy in Switzerland care about who I am? Well, they do, because you're the rookie of the year. And they do care. Forgetful saying Britney Griner is on her way home. Something to celebrate. I know. I was so worried about her for so long, especially when they sentenced her to a work colony, where she's got to go to a penal colony and start like breaking rocks or something like that. I don't know. She's on the chain gang in Russia. That's not where you want to be. Not no, you don't. You don't want to be working there. So yeah, I'm really happy she's coming back. You forget about this and it kind of gets in your back of your head. Is anything happening about it? Well, something did happen, and President Biden's got her coming back. Thank goodness. Now it sucks that they have to make a trade for such an awful person, but sometimes you have to do certain things and it's too bad. The merchant of death is going to be freed also. But in some ways, this is really, really good that she's just out of there because she's very high profile. And this is something that matters. This really does matter, getting her free. She's unjustly being jailed over there. Tom Duke has got the pancakes out. He has a vat of 100% maple syrup. This is fantastic. And there's the butter, too. Pancake recipe for El Capitan Frederico and his wonderful family. He will decide who else eats. Yeah. Fred, do whatever you got to do. Dial it back. Just worry about yourself and getting yourself back in the best mental place and the best places to play. And it's crazy because I think that the perfect storm you described a couple of days ago isn't anything really that bad in your life. It's just all the things around you, maybe like the fan stuff, maybe the injury stuff, maybe just slumping and people talking shit, whatever. And the algorithm stuff too. The stupid, like, what am I seeing on my Twitter right now? I don't want to see this. Like, I'll unfollow everybody. Oh, what did Fred do? He hates everyone. Oh no, Fred, what did you do? What's wrong? That's so crazy. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying forgetful. That's great news. Well, that's great news. What did forgetful say? Oh yeah, Brittany coming back. Yeah, it is really good. Nameless saying ciao tutti. Ciao tutti. Hi everyone, or goodbye everyone. Come va questa mattina. Come va questa mattina. There's my Italian lesson for today. He'll tell me what I said at some point, I think. Let's see. Monique saying rebounds were great. Wow. Koloko will learn them from fouling out. Lex, let's go, boys. Yeah, he fouled out. Who cares? Sometimes he's going to foul out, and he should foul out from time to time. That's just how it is with Koloko and the type of role he's got to play for us. Sometimes those fouls will be very worth getting. and it won't be a real big deal if he takes them. Now, once again, Ken Birch did not play last night, and I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. And Nick even joked about it after the game. He's like, I could have put Kem in last night, but I didn't, and maybe I should next time. And I'm like, just play Ken Birch, Nick. Come on. You're wily. You're so wily. Okay, Mike's saying Braun and AD got the Nick Nurse flu. Lakers don't want the easy strats shown against them, in my opinion. Well, LeBron was not sick. AD's sick. He's got the flu. But LeBron was not sick. You think he'd be sitting out there at the court and going to hang out with Drake after the game if he was sick? No, he wasn't sick. It's his knee soreness. And it really is like he's at the age in his career where he can't do back-to-backs. And he had to choose between playing in Toronto, which he's played here many of the times that he's been here recently. So it's not like our Toronto crowd has been starved of him over the last few years. He's played in Toronto pretty much most of the time. So when they come here, he plays. But if they're playing a hometown Cleveland game the night before, he's going to pick his hometown and play in front of his hometown crowd and take the night off in Toronto because he wasn't going to play both games. And that was something I was saying. It was like, all right, if he plays in the Cleveland game, I'll bet you he won't play in Toronto. And that's exactly right. But he's not hurt. He's resting his knee is what he's doing. It's technically the reasoning is he's resting his knee. He's not sick, and he's not really that hurt. He could have played last night, but he's not playing on back-to-backs is what the issue is. Nako's saying long run, the AD trade was real bad. For which side is you got to elaborate there, Nako. I think it was really bad for the Lakers long term because obviously the New Orleans Pelicans have very benefited. They got Zion Williamson in because of the AD trade, and they may get Wemby down the road also because of him. That's crazy. But I think you're right. The long run, the AD trade was real bad for the Lakers, a disaster. And that's part of the reason why I don't like putting Anthony Davis in the top 75 of all time. I don't like celebrating him as one of the greatest players of this era because in some ways, a huge part of his career has been a huge fail. And he's kind of like, I don't know. I could be really mean and say some bad things. Like even last night, Jack Armstrong was saying, I love AD and he's great. He's a super talented player. But how many times have we seen him play against the Raptors in the last 5 years? Like maybe 3 times. Yeah. And like the last time he actually played in Toronto in our arena was in 2018 in November before we won the championship. That is the last time he's played in our arena against the Raptors was in November of 2018. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's why I don't take him so seriously because he really is a part-timer. And sure. Okay. If he shows up and he's full strength like he was last weekend, okay, I want to see that. I like that challenge. But yeah, long term, the Lakers lost the trade and the New Orleans Pelicans definitely won that trade. Randolph Phillips is here. Good to see Randolph. Blessings, 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 blessings for you. Blessings for you. A car for you. Beloved Raptor freaks, that win was amazing by our team. That was team basketball the way it must be played. Yeah, they got in 25 assists right on the dot last night, and Nick made a big deal out of that number last night. He said, we got 25 assists. I'm very happy about this. But he did say that he thought they could have gotten more, that if they'd hit just a couple, he said this a lot recently, you just hit a couple more of your open shots, we'll get higher assist totals. But we'll take 25 assists. For the game last night. They were moving the ball very well. One of the things I really liked about what the Raptors did last night is, did you guys know in the first half, they only had 2 turnovers? The whole entire first half, they only had 2 turnovers. That's fantastic. That's really good taking care of the ball. To go a whole half with only 2 turnovers was fantastic. By the end of the game, they ended up having 9. So they got 7 more in the second half. But that was really fantastic. Actually, they got 9 more in the second half. So they had 11. So that's really fantastic. Only 11 turnovers by the Raptors last night on the download was a very good stat. Now let's look at the team stats overall. We beat them in shooting. We shot 44% to 43% by them, and we manufactured 19 more field goal attempts than them throughout the normal ways we do it. That's stealing the ball. That's offensive rebounds. Just getting more shot attempts than them by the end of the game is always a huge strategy the Raptors try to use because we don't always shoot well. And we got 19 more attempts and we made 10 more field goals than them by the end of the game. That's huge. 3 points, we beat them. 12 3-pointers made by us to 7 by them. Neither team shot threes very well, though. Free throws, they actually beat us at the free throw line, and they've got way more free throw attempts than us. The refs were, in some ways, trying to help the Lakers. In fact, there was some points where there was just like, okay, they're really trying to help the Lakers get out of the mud, but they're just not good enough to take that baton and run with it and get anywhere with it. It's like, sure, Goebel, go ahead and help them some more, but it won't matter because they're not capable enough to overcome things and come back at us. You go ahead and give them nice calls and give them a bunch of free throws. It don't matter. We'll still beat their ass is really kind of how I was thinking because they got 11 more free throw attempts than us by the end of the game. And they only missed 3 free throws. So the free throw line was a huge place where they tried to help the deficit that we were building on them. They were plus 12 at the free throw line compared to us. We out-rebounded them, 54 rebounds to 46, 17 offensive rebounds last night. Absolutely fantastic. Beat them on assists, as I just said. Steals, 10 steals last night. We hadn't been getting a lot of steals in games recently, and it was nice to see us be in there deflecting, causing chaos, the ball going all over the place in crazy ways, deflections, out of bounds, this way, all that kind of stuff's really good. Fast break points, we won. Points in the paint, we won. So we won a lot of the important categories last night against the Lakers, and it added up to a big W. And that's what we love. We love W's. Let's keep getting them. More W's. Lots of W's. Yes. All right, let's see. Nameless is saying, we need to send the whole team to trade school so they can learn plumbing. Well, Scotty knows the trade school guys. We just need to talk to Scotty. He can get us enrolled in the trade school and learn some plumbing skills. But, listen, some of these guys are very good plumbers already. I would say if we had to rank our plumbers on our team, OG's obviously the head plumber. But, you got guys like PASCAL's actually a very underrated plumber. Scotty is a very good plumber himself. Gary and Fred as a backcourt of plumbers, they are actually pretty damn good plumbers. And when Precious comes back, he's a damn fine plumber himself. So I think we got some good plumbers on the team. It's just we need to get them more time together, healthy. Precious is a huge defensive player for us, and we're missing him right now. And he could very much be helping us with the defensive stuff along with the aggression on the offensive end. So yeah, that's something on the download that we've really missed in this time with Precious out. He's the extra plus defender that can kind of be running around the rotation in the scheme with guys like Scotty and OG. And he's just like the same look as them. And, when you switch him from OG or Scotty, the defender just starts pulling their hair out. So that's part of the reason why I really want to see Precious back is because he is one of these plumbers that can really be added to the collective of plumbers to really shut water off. Isaac Campbell saying Lakers are the worst team in the NBA. Glad the Raptors got the win and 3 more coming in a row. But LA is the worst team with the worst potential in the league. No way LA wins anything ever again. Wow, Isaac. Wow. All right. Can I break this down real quick? They're not the worst team in the league. The Magic are. The Magic are definitely the worst team in the league. The Lakers are good because they got LeBron. Just that byproduct of that in itself is like, all right, look, we didn't see the real Laker team last night. We were lucky. We caught them on a night where they needed to rest guys. But, with AD and doing like he has done at things, look out. They're actually a playoff team if AD can play well like he has recently and he stays healthy. So I can't agree with that. The Magic are the worst team to me, at least through I've seen so far this year. I don't know if their potential is the worst either. Like they can really turn things around and actually make some noise still by the end of this year, especially with AD showing signs of life. So I don't know. I can't agree with your statements today, Isaac. I usually agree with you all the time, 100%. But on this one, I don't know if I can because I don't think that LA is that bad as much as I'd like to say. And the last statement, that's crazy talk. There's no way that the Lakers franchise will be held down forever, ever again. They will be winning something at some point. The NBA will figure it out, and they will too at some point. And hopefully it'll be like a decade from now or maybe 5 years from now. But you can't say ever again. The Lakers are going to win another championship at some point, just like we are. We're gonna win one. Hopefully, we'll win one before them. I think we could. I think we could win another one before they do. So we'll see. I don't think they're gonna get one while LeBron's still playing. That's the thing. That's the key. I don't think they'll win one while LeBron still plays for them. It's gonna be like later on in a new era when the Lakers win their next championship. It won't be when LeBron's there though. Fun guy saying, not sure it's a celebration considering we released a mass gun dealer and terrorism threat to Americans and Canadians. I think it still is to a degree. Listen, I know that they say we don't negotiate with terrorists. Well, in some ways we do in this situation. And I don't know. This is complicated and very tricky in some ways. Like, look, yeah, this guy probably does deserve to rot in a jail for the rest of his life. But some things are complicated in this world. It's not so cut and dry and so simple. If we could have it ideally the way we'd really like it to be, sure, we'd like to just get her out and not have to release that guy. But Putin, he had a card up his sleeve by holding her. And in some ways, alleviating the public pressure of that and the whole situation of this is in some ways very good. But yeah, let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of stupid deals we've done over the last couple decades with, the Taliban and different regimes of trading people for people. And this is just part of the game in some ways. And it is unfortunate. Sure, the merchant of death goes back in part of this deal. But also there's a lot of symbolism in this that the U.S. cares about an LGBTQ person of color. And that is important. That message is very important in today's society where half the nation is saying, let her rot in hell in jail over there. And well, no, she's an American. We care about her and we need to get her home and free, especially when she's unjustly jailed. And anybody who thinks that Britney Griner was justly jailed, you're fucking stupid because she was not justly jailed and she did not deserve any of what happened to her this year. That the laws over there are stupid and they're crazy. And what she had is very harmless and was a trumped up kind of charge that was just built on her. So I don't like that we had to send the other guy back. In an ideal world, that wouldn't happen, but we don't live in an ideal world and we have to do what we can in certain situations. So Mike's saying sweet chin music, laughing my ass off. Yeah, I'd like to see Chris do a sweet chin music. He'd have to really, he could get his leg up there pretty high. He may be able to sweet chin music Taco Fall. I don't know. Click saying, regardless, I want to build some momentum now. Let's beat the Magic back to back, beat the King and beat the Nets. Yeah. Yeah, I love this. We really do need to get some wins in a row. We owe the Nets. We're only going to see them one more time this season. This is our last chance to beat them. If we don't want to get swept by them for the season. So in some ways, that Nets game next Friday is really, really circled on the calendar for we need to win this game for sure. And the game's here in Toronto, which is good. So we can have a good crowd. Let's beat the Friday losing monkey on our back tomorrow. Beat the Magic tomorrow on Friday so we can open it up so we can have another win on a Friday the next week. And the Kings game is going to be very tough. But once again, there's a couple of things that are on our side against the Kings on Wednesday. We're in our home court. They're young and they're still kind of figuring things out to a degree, but also I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how the new look Kings work against us with Sabonis and Herter and different people on that team that are new or that we haven't seen play on the Kings squad since last year because they've made so many changes. So I don't know. We'll focus on the two Magic games this weekend, obviously first, and then we'll see the Kings on next Wednesday. Who knows where we can be after that Kings game. Maybe we do have a 4-game win streak. I'd love to see that. I really would. Monique saying, good seeing you in the Raptors Tonight live stream last night, Nameless. Let's keep it going, boys. So happy. Monique is having a great day on Tom Duke's birthday, y'all. I'll say it again. It's Tom Duke's birthday, y'all. And it's a great day to celebrate. Nameless is saying, I'm sensing there is something bigger going on internally, and they're healing right now, working things out. But hey, that's just my opinion. Thank you, Mo. Thanks, Mo. You too. You're talking about the Raptors team, that they're healing something or taking care of something internally. That's an interesting thing. I know that there has been some, a lot of kind of turmoil underneath with the team for sure. Whether it's been sicknesses, dealing with injuries, maybe Nick Nurse has been a little bit on a tirade on the down low, and maybe he has been kind of hard on the team, being very Gary this and if you don't do this better, Fred, or who knows. But I get that sense too. In fact, I felt it like 2 weeks ago, where it's like something's wrong with the team. And then I went to the coach's open house. And I was like, okay, things feel the vibe is right now. And then we beat Cleveland, and the vibe was good then. And then things kind of a couple of losses after that, and then yeah, the vibe was kind of like really bad after losing, getting blown out to New Orleans and Brooklyn 2 games in a row. And so it's been kind of up and down. And I think it really has to do more with them winning and losing. That when they lose, they really start looking in the mirror and kind of like, it's just hard. We feel it when they're losing. We feel like, well, they feel it even more so. They're searching for answers and trying to figure things out. So that's a lot of what it is. I think it's just when you're losing, there's a lot of searching, soul searching, and that maybe that's where they're at right now. Mike saying Kanono 4 blocks and looking solid against weak competition. That challenge Nick used on the Kanono block was perfect to start getting Kanono respect. He gets all ball a lot, even though called a foul. Yeah, that's totally the reason why he did it, because it really didn't benefit the team. It's just like, I'm going to stand up for my rookie finally and say, look, y'all are calling him with with fouls when he's got blocks. And I want to show it to y'all. Y'all can go look at it. You'll see it. And, oh, okay, he's right. Look, actually, he is right. That was a block. It was clean. He's just so good. Oh, I don't realize he's so good. Well, he is that good. So y'all give him some more respect in the future and realize those are actually clean blocks. They're not fouls. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Let's see. Name was saying, totally agree about the different kinds of attention on Fred this season. 1000%. Let's be honest. That applies to Scotty as well. It applies to all of them to a certain degree. Some of the lesser players, maybe not as much, but it definitely applies to people like PASCAL, Fred, Scotty, even C.Boucher to a degree, Gary Trent, obviously, all of them to a degree. So yeah, it's important to really figure out, because part of it is that the media and social media and these places and these sites are changing. They're evolving, and they're not totally evolving in good ways. Let's put it that way, especially Twitter. And those kind of places are changing. Then they have to change with the terrain, the players, and be like, okay, well, this is totally a new wrinkle. People are DMing me this kind of stuff, and I'm like, I don't like this. It's okay, so put some more restrictions up. Because Fred, for a long time on his posts on Instagram, only certain people can comment on it, and it really is like close friends and people that he knows and trusts. It's like average fans can't just go on his posts and write whatever they want on there. So yeah, this is really important for today's athlete to understand. And it's like such a changing world just in general, all around, for everybody to deal with. If you're in the public eye and you're a professional athlete who plays in the NBA, it's even more like you've got to stay on top of trends and understanding how social media is evolving and how you may need to adjust your life and how much you put out there. Yeah, it really is. Okay, Tom Duke's saying, hey, yeah, thanks, Lex. Cheers. That's right, Tom Duke's. Big dubs in the stream for Tom Duke, y'all. Big W's in the stream for Tom Duke on his birthday, y'all. Come on now. Click saying Nick has to find ways to create efficient offense against zones. I really love the interview with C.Boucher last night talking about this. Chris, he noticed something last season. He's like watching the games. He's saying, man, these guys keep putting zones on us and we keep having a hard time beating the zone. He's like, I hate it. I want to change this. I want to change this. I hate this so much. Well, he thought about it. He's like, bing. Well, what are they saying? That to beat the zone, to bust the zone, you go to the middle and you start making shots there? Well, what did Chris do? He started practicing that mid-range he's been hitting in the lane lately. And this is specifically their zone buster move. So the way we've been seeing Chris in the last couple games get into the middle of the lane and hit these laning back shots, that's very much something he's practiced this summer intentionally to try and zone bust. That when these teams are throwing the bust on he wants to bust it himself. Like, this is a role he's taken on himself. He says these 3 things he wants to do this year is offensive rebound like crazy, take charges, and then bust zones. That he very much spelled it out in his interview last night. I watched and I saw that somebody needs to go to the middle of the paint and make shots around the free throw line in the middle of the game when they put the zone on us. That's where to go, and that's why he's having success with this. When you see Chris in the lane hit that little jumper, that's him busting the zone. And it's totally intentional, and he meant to do it. And everybody's asking him, what are you doing in the mid-range in the lane all of a sudden? He's like, that's what he told us. He's busting the zone. So Chris took it on his own shoulders to do something about the zone problem. And this is one of the ways we're fighting it, is sending Chris to the middle to bust the zone with that little shot. So there you go, Click. Look out for that. And it's very intentional. Chris said, I want to help us against the zone. And this is how I'm going to do it myself personally. And it's really working in a lot of ways. It's hilarious. Chris is so awesome. He's so awesome. He had like an 8-minute interview last night, and it's very fun to watch. You should watch it. That's where he talks about being in a wrestling team with Precious. But yeah, he was talking about this, and that's why Chris is taking that shot all of a sudden. And we never saw Chris take like a middle of the paint, like mid range like that, very much in his career. And we're seeing it all the time. That's exactly why. Duke Rocks saying happy birthday to Tom. Best wishes. Yes, West Coast Raptor Freak Tom, you hold it down out there on your birthday. Monique saying Jonesy still speaks highly on the back-to-back. He's still up in the air. Plus a new TV viewing coming soon via Jack. Happy birthday, Tom. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. And hopefully, we'll see some good stuff coming up for the Raptors. There's a new TV viewing coming via Jack. Oh, maybe for his show that he did on at the Danforth Music Hall. Maybe they filmed it, and maybe it's a Christmas special on television. Maybe they should put it on like Sportsnet or something. Put him on and like have him out there. I don't know, not Sportsnet, TSN, whatever channel. They could have the Jack Armstrong Christmas holiday special. It should be on CTV or Global or something. I'd watch that. I want to see the Jack Armstrong Christmas special. Adriana saying happy birthday to Tom. Have a great day. Cheers from Tom Duke to everyone. I'm a fun guy saying happy birthday, Tom. Gonna smoke a fat one and eat some cake for you and sing happy birthday to myself. All for you, my guy. There we go. Tom Duke's getting the love on his birthday. Cool Cat saying PASCAL basically sleepwalks into these stats now. Hey, holy smokes. Birthday blessing, Tom Duke. Yeah, in some ways, PASCAL is like kind of just like, okay, I can get these. That's why I want him to be cognizant. And what is he doing? Like, I want him to get these triple doubles. Bro, you are so close left and right on getting triple doubles, PASCAL. Last night, it was just 3 more assists. The other night before, it was like, you just need a couple more rebounds. PASCAL, be like Kyle. And this is the argument I'm going to make about this. Like, I don't want him to sleepwalk through games. Sure, he could do this stuff on autopilot, but I want him to be very cognizant of what's going on in the game and even his own individual stats. Because listen, PASCAL, you want to make a big legacy in your name over your whole entire NBA career, you need to get your triple-double stats up. Because this will be more ammunition for you to be said as one of the greats to ever play in this game. I know it sounds dumb, and it may go against your nature as far as being and not doing selfish things. But I really do think if you start stacking these triple doubles you're so close to getting, it will really benefit you over the long term of your career because they can point to this stat, and that you just missing out on triple doubles constantly is not going to do you any favors in how your argument for long term if whether you should be in the Hall of Fame. Things like that, PASCAL. You need to start thinking that way. It's not totally selfish for you to get those triple doubles because they're illustrious. They're great. And you can do them within the game like Kyle used to, and you don't hurt anybody. That's fantastic. But if you have it, go for it. Seriously, you got to think long term and about your legacy and your career and whether you can be in this running for Hall of Fame. And getting triple doubles and having like, okay, he has 35 career triple doubles is illustrious. It is an accomplishment, and you're leaving these on the table, PASCAL. You need to go get them, especially if they're close. If you're only like 1 or 2 stats off of them by the end of the game, you need to go get them. You need to think about it and do it. I know it sounds selfish and it goes against things, but Kyle could do it in a way that it benefited the team and it benefited him also. Talk to Kyle on the phone about it. Figure out his secrets for how it does it and just get some mentorship on this because I really do think it will help you in the long run with consideration for accolades later on at the end of your career. And you don't want to miss out because you left stuff on the table at the beginning of your career that you should have just taken. These triple doubles matter. Trust me. Ask Jason Kidd. you can find out that Kyle Lowry is more of a lock to be in the Hall of Fame because of his triple-double stats. So I'm going to say, Pascal, stop leaving these on the table. You're just a couple of stats away from it. Don't worry about being selfish. Do it in a way where you help your team and maybe take the challenge. If it's so easy to him right now, Cool Cat, that he can sleepwalk through the game, well, make it a little more of a game and say, well, I'm going to get a game in a game. I'm going to get a triple-double in this game. So make it more fun. Because players would do that. Really high-level players like Michael and Larry, they challenge themselves by doing crazy-ass shit. Like, I'm only going to play with my left hand in this game, Larry Bird. It's like, if it's getting too easy and you're sleepwalking through it, well, all right, make a game in the game and try and get a triple-double. Because I really do think this is going to be important by the end of your career, Pascal, on whether you get sorted into not a Hall of Famer or a Hall of Famer. So start thinking about it that way, Siakam. Seriously. Raymond Jacobs saying, happy birthday, Tommy Boy. Happy birthday, Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy. Yes. If Tom Duke came to Toronto and we hung out here, I feel like I might be like David Spade and he would be Tommy Boy. And maybe we'd run around town and I'd be like, Tom, what are you doing? Tom's freaking out like Chris Farley or something. I don't know. Tom may not be like that in person. But for some reason, I want to be like that. Like if I could be David Spade and he's Chris Farley and we go around and have a buddy movie around Toronto when Tom visits and we go to a Raptor game together, that'd be fun. Tommy Boy. Yeah, I like it. Mike's saying happy birthday to Official. Tom Duke, Official. Official. That's right. Very Official. Monique is saying we can really move up the standings now. 7th right now. Listen, this is the time where that's why I'm so worried about what we're going to do, whether we're going to go up or down, because all these teams in the middle of the Eastern Conference right now, they're all either going up or down. And Atlanta seems like they're going to be going down because of chemistry issues with Trae Young and Nate McMillan. I was talking to my nephew in Atlanta about this and kind of explaining it to him. He's like, what's going on with the Hawks? And I was like, well, it seems like your coach is fighting with your franchise player. Ooh, and they probably are going to be going down the standings. That's what we want. We want to be going up the standings while other teams are going down the standings. Like Indiana Pacers, you really think they can keep this up all year? You really think they can keep this up all year? They're probably going to be going down. So maybe we can come up and take those spots from the Hawks and the Pacers when they ultimately start falling in the standings, because they will. Trust me, they will. And we need to start going up like a buoy in the water, rising up to the top while they sink. That's what we need to do. All right, let's keep going. Cool Cat saying the fourth quarter don't count because we subbed in the end of the bench. That's true. And the Lakers did catch up a lot in the fourth quarter. We had a nice, good lead, and they closed it up by the end of the game to only 13. And yeah, you're right. We did have the subs in there at the end. I didn't think we saw Malachi soon enough. He did get his points per minute. He got 5 points in 5 minutes. And that's what I'm looking at, Malachi. You get as many points as you play minutes. That's always good. And he did it. 5 points in 5 minutes. Good job, Malachi. Dalano barely in the game. Jeffed out in 2 minutes in. Justin Champagny got an appearance. Barely played also. And then Thad Young, 19 minutes, 0 for 1. 2 offensive rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. He stat stuffed a little bit. But Thad not doing a whole lot of scoring or anything, just kind of out there doing facilitating and maybe getting a few steals, which was enough, by him. It was really nice. Now, Nick kind of said last night in his interview that he's figured out the 8-man rotation, that he really likes the guys he has right now. And, of course, Precious will get added to this rotation when he comes back. But it really is the 5 starters he's starting right now, Fred, Scotty, OG, Pascal, and Koloko, with Boucher, Trent, and Thad Young. He said basically last night, that's my 8-man rotation, is what he said. So that is the line he's drawn right there. He said, these are the 8 guys that I like playing the most. And I'm sure Precious is in that crew also to be the 9th guy when he comes back. And Otto, I don't know. Maybe Otto isn't in that crew. Maybe he is. I don't know. But yeah, he talked a lot about his rotation. He said there's 8 guys in it last night. So there you go. There's a little bit of news on that. Nameless is celebrating Tom's birthday with his language. And he's got the party maker. He's partying down. He's got a couple cakes. He's got the pancakes out there too. So pancakes has cake in it. So it is a cake to go along with a birthday cake and a slice of cake, a pancake. Then he's got a lot of maple syrup. He knows the party crowd. He knows that crowd needs the maple syrup. And then he's got the 5 dinosaur lineup. Looks like a standard Tom Duke maple syrup party. Oh yeah, it looks good. Fun guy saying Davis always massively struggles against us. I actually think he's more of a liability against our defense. Yeah, I mean, that could be true that we're not a good matchup for him, and he's looked so good lately. I just think it's so weird that, like, look, he's had such a powerful week, 55 points. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden he's just about to come see us, and it's like he leaves the game the night before and he's really tired and sick. And they showed footage of him leaving the game. And I'm just like, this dude's kind of weak, man. Like, I understand this dude should be so good, but in some ways there's something wrong with him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. I feel like he's been a disappointment. I think that in general, you could just say that his career's been a disappointment in a lot of ways. And some people will celebrate him and say, "Oh, well, he's won a championship with the Lakers." Yeah, you fucking won a championship in the bubble. Whatever. The dude had so much potential in some ways. Like, if he saw stunted growth in years to come, what happened? Why didn't he do as good as he could have done in his career? I'd be really interested to see what stunted growth comes up with in their research when they do this one on him, because it should happen at some point, because he has not lived up to his potential that he showed when he got drafted and he was on the Pelicans earlier on. And the things he was doing when the Pelicans franchise, that was nasty. Well, ever since he got moved to the Lakers, it's like, what is he doing? I don't know. I think he's a big disappointment. Randolph Phillips is saying happy birthday to Tom. I love it. And you guys are really putting the emoticons into it. Tom Duke saying, you guys are awesome. Cake for everyone and good things ahead for us all. Yes, Tom Duke. We need to celebrate you, bro. When I was on Facebook last night, I was like, oh, it's Tom Duke's birthday. I was like, I'm going to make sure I mention this tomorrow. Duke Rock saying, I love the fact Koloko got 4 blocks, but overall his efficiency suffers when he tries to switch on everything. Also, we need to get him more involved in the offense, more pick and roll, please. Yes. Yes, I like that. See, Duke's saying a lot of things that I agree with. He hurts our team in a lot of ways, even though he helps our team also. And it really is, what does Nick value more? The rim protection, the roving shot blocker, the threat, the defensive presence is very much what he's valuing and what is keeping Koloko in the game. But the things that keep it hard for us to keep him out there are the, like, blown assignments, the greenness of him not being so experienced and making poor mistakes just because he doesn't have much experience. So it's tough. Now, right at the beginning of the game last night, we saw him run a pick and roll with Fred. And I was like, yes, they're doing it right away. Pick and roll. And it was fantastic. But they didn't do it hardly anymore after that. They did it a little bit right at the beginning, but it really didn't see enough of it. And I'd like to see way more pick and roll with Koloko and Fred, because I thought that was the best way for Fred to get back going, like, good for himself. But he did it without doing pick and rolls with Koloko. He did just on his own. Monique is saying, good seeing Mo Pete in the building, and the Oak Man, of course. We were all clicking on all cylinders. There were a lot of legends in the building last night. It was actually pretty cool to have so many legends in the building last night. Of course, Lebron sitting over there in street clothes, wearing a black toque, kind of hanging out, waiting for the game to be over to go hang out with Drake. And of course, Drake's there, sitting there with his young son, Adonis, and then taking in the game and looking pretty stylish. Of course, he's going to hang out with LeBron after the game. And then, of course, legends in the corner. Bam. Morris, Peterson, and Charles Oakley. Second Charles Oakley game this week. We saw he was in Brooklyn against for that game when we played Brooklyn, and now he's come to Toronto and sat in our own arena watching it. This has been a fantastic week for alumni guys coming to the Raptor games. I loved seeing Donyell Marshall at the Celtics game, sitting next to Nav Bhatia. In fact, I had never seen Donyell Marshall come back for any kind of Raptors alumni anything until that moment, and that was really heartwarming to me. Now, Morris. Listen, Morris is often a guy we forget about in our Raptors history that is so important and so essential. In some ways, he's like Terrence Ross. He's very, very much a key Raptor who was very important and did so many good things for us when he played, but he was always kind of a second banana, or kind of not, he was in the shadow of Vince. And, you don't talk about him enough, but he is somebody that we should celebrate. I mean, the man played almost 550 games in a Raptor uniform, and that's up there on the list. So he's very much a very important Raptor, and we don't celebrate him enough. And in fact, he's been missing. I hadn't seen Morris around the team very much until last night. And I'm really happy to see him there with Oakley and seeing him. It really warms my heart because I love Morris Peterson. And I know that he was around the team. He did try broadcasting with us. It didn't really go very well. And then we didn't see him for a long time. But seeing Morris back really warmed my heart. And of course, seeing Oakley at 2 Raptor games in 1 week. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. And we love you, Charles, and we love you, Morris. And we're so happy that when you guys come to the games, we really are. Keep coming to them. We love seeing you guys like Muggsy and Dell, all you guys from back in the day. When you show up, we love it. We want to see Kevin Willis show up next. Yeah, Kevin Willis, get some of those other old ones show up and have them sitting there. Just go down the line. Even get Chris Childs. If Chris Childs wants to come and sit at a Raptors game, we'll celebrate him too because he did do an important playoff stuff for us early on, Chris Childs. So there's a couple of old Raptor players that we would love to see. Go get Oliver Miller. Where's Oliver Miller? Bring him out and have him sitting at courtside. We'd love to see the Big O at a Raptors game. I don't know what's going on with him. Hey, if Keon Clark's got his life together, bring him on down. We'd love to see him at a Raptors game. We love stories where guys come back from prison and being in a horrible place and they've cleaned themselves up and life is better. Bring Keon back. I don't know who does this stuff or gets it set up, but start reaching out to more of these old Raptor faces because we love seeing them at the game. Jorge Garboza, bring them all on in. Bring them all on in. Speaking of Spain, the funny clip of Precious trolling Juancho this morning, wearing I think it's Morocco. He's wearing like the jersey of the team that just put Spain out in the World Cup, and Juancho's like, Precious, you're not my friend anymore. So there's your controversy. He's right out in the open. Juancho does not like Precious because he was trolling him over Spain's exit in the World Cup. And it's pretty funny clip. It's up on Precious's Instagram and the Raptors Instagram right now. But it's all lighthearted. But, you know, people who want some string to pull apart about the Raptors, ooh, Juancho doesn't like Precious because of World Cup trolling. Ooh. Maybe Aaron Rose will report about this today. We'll see, divide on the Raptors team between Juancho and Precious over soccer. Football. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, my gosh. All right, Cool Cat saying we have Quad from starters and we have Trio from bench. Gary, Boucher, and Thad. Can't wait for Precious and Otto. That's a power 5. Yeah. Okay, so you're counting the top 4 starters without Koloko, and then you're saying this trio guys on there. Okay. Yeah, I can see that formation. Nameless is saying he challenged the Koloko call to send a message to both the refs and the players. To the refs, we ain't having it. And to the players, I got your back. That's what it all was about. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Nameless. He wanted to show that Koloko, he has your back. And he's looking out for you. He's done these challenge calls when PASCAL has requested them. And you say, okay, this is my franchise dude. I want to just show that I'm on his side. Okay, I'll go ahead and do it, even if he's wrong. And we just wasted our challenge. And it wasn't one we should have taken. But you know what? PASCAL wants it. We'll help him and we'll say, you know what? We believe you, even though you're wrong. And we lose the challenge. But it's a vote of confidence. And then, right, exactly. The other one's very important to show the refs that maybe you need to change the calls on Koloko as a rookie, that he is blocking them clean. But yeah, it's effective in a way, but not effective for the outcome because they still got the ball at side out. But this is part of what I want to do when I do my report on challenge calls and what is most effective of it. We're learning more and more about how they can be used in very good ways. And this is a way that I think is pretty good. It's show confidence in your player and a vote of confidence in that you've got their back, and also to point out something to the refs about maybe how they should adjust their calls. And those are both 2 good, smart reasons, even if the outcome isn't getting the ball back or, you save them a foul also, which is very important. Monique saying Clippers here in Toronto on the 27th. Do you see Kawhi playing? And what did you take away from Kayla's interview with Fred? You mean after the game? Yeah, Freddie was pretty good after the game. Of course, obviously, listen, he's had such a huge weight on his shoulders. It's always nice to get that feeling of lightness after success. And that he's had this before. He knows it. He probably craved it for last night. And that's part of what drove him to success is that he understands from the past he can slump and this all goes away if he starts hitting shots and it looks good and it feels good and people lay off of him. So he knew he could get breathing room by doing this. And in some ways that may very much motivate him to be successful like that. I'm interested to see what happens when the Clippers come here at the end of the month. I hope Kawhi plays, but in some ways I don't. I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's very far off from now, and we've got a lot of games to worry about before then. But the closer I get to that game, the more I'll be looking at them and seeing what the status of George and Leonard is as far as their health and who we should expect to be playing against us when they come to Scotiabank Arena. Let's see. Duke saying, I'm sure Raps review footage on Koloko. If there are egregious trends on Koloko, they probably send footage to league officials to review. But yeah, seems he gets some really, really soft calls on him. It's kind of like I said, he's a rookie. He's second round. So there's disrespect coming for that. Then he's on the Raptors. So there's a little bit of a layer of disrespect just because he's a Raptor. And then, it's like, look, he's very overpowering as a shot blocker already. Like, it's kind of like, do they want to allow him to be like a Camby or a Mutombo? Like somebody who's going to average like 2 to 3 blocks a game, because he could easily do that if they take the shackles off him as far as with the foul calls half the time. And that's really what they're politicking for right now. It's like, look, it's kind of like a piece of land, like the green belt and this bullshit with Doug Ford. Is like Koloko wants a piece of land that he can inhabit where he can block shots and not get foul calls. And the refs don't want to sell him that land yet. And he's got to negotiate with them to be like, okay, well, this is what's been worked out with his personal way he plays, that he is a shot blocker and he can do this. And it's being negotiated. It's a little bit rough, but he may get this very quickly because it may be no doubt that he is making clean blocks and that these foul calls are full of shit and they're going to have to stop doing it. It's just they can do it right now. It's like, hey, welcome to the NBA. You're in your first 2 months of playing in the NBA. This is how it is. Maybe the learning curve will be very quick because they'll be like, okay, well, wait, he's still, he's hitting they look real clean. They're sending footage to us. They challenged us and we looked at it and they were right. Okay, maybe we actually have to give them the calls. And like I said, what will happen is Koloko's block shots average will go up and he'll be among the league leaders. In some ways, that's what they're trying to do is they're trying to hold him down from being in like the top 10 of block shots in the whole entire league, because he will be and he should be because he's got that kind of level of play in that stat category. So that's really what they're just trying. They have a governor on him, basically, like a governor would be on an engine. They're governing him as far as like what level he can do and operate at without getting calls. And they're going to change this, and hopefully it'll be soon. And he'll just have it for the rest of his career after that. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Nameless saying, laugh out loud. That was great, Lex. Your accent is improving. You're promoted to kindergarten level. All right. Tom Duke's birthday, and I just graduated to kindergarten level. Italian? Yes, Italian. Italian? Okay, you said, hello, everybody. How are you this morning? Fantastic. And that's exactly what I wanted to say in Italian. Don't make me say anything crazy or out of pocket or maybe naughty. Don't ever make me do that. That would be silly. Blackhawk saying Kem not playing is all right as is. I like Kem and I like the statistic that we win, but we're winning without him being in the game. And I'm like, but still, I think we could have used him on Monday. Luke Cornett, he needed to have Kem Birch on him. Luke Cornett for the Celtics. And it's really when the big guys start throwing their weight around and doing all kinds of stuff down low. And I'm like, that's when we need Kem. He's a doorstop. He can stop a big man from dominating down low. And if we see a big man dominating down low, that's when I say we need Kem. We don't need Koloko. We don't need Thad. We need Kem because he's the best one at stopping those kind of guys. The really big, ugly, like if it's Jokic, if it's Embiid, if it's Cornette, we need Kem Birch is what I'm saying. All right, let's keep going. Lolita's saying, happy birthday, Tom. Go Raptors. Yes, happy birthday, Tom. Cool Cat saying, starting lineup fluid based on matchup. Koloko is learning a lot. He protects the rim for a few minutes. Fouling out, not an issue for us. Development for playoffs, good strategy like Scotty. Yeah. I mean, I just have to accept it. In some ways without AD, like I said, Koloko's a fine start, but I really don't like him starting against advanced teams like the Celtics. That's just tough. If it's an easier team, there's no problem with him going out there and trying things. It's just that we need to game an advantage right from the beginning, and I don't want us to have a mismatch right away just because Koloko's starting. But yeah, I think that it is going to be really good for him by the time the playoffs come around. And maybe this is part of the reason why they want Koloko to be kind of ready to be like that kind of guy. But it's like I said, he's going to have to take the playoffs in for the first time to be actually ready for the playoffs. There's no way we can prepare him ahead of time. He's got to try it first, and that's the only way he can learn it. Forgetful say many happy returns, Tom. Team obviously all in on Koloko. They see the athleticism and the mindset and have decided to accelerate developing the skill set. I think the goal is a cup in 2024. Toronto Raptors, NBA champions 2024. Say it. Put it out and let's do it a little early. We're going to do both of them. CC saying happy birthday to Tom. That's awesome. I like to see that. And Lolita is saying Siakam, Fred, OG, Scotty, Gary, Precious, Thad, Boucher, etc. What's not to like? In about 2 years, they will dominate the NBA. Go Raptors. Well, let's see if we can dominate them by the end of this year. That's what I want. Let's dominate them before the end of this year. Yes. Monique is saying, but it jumped. It jumped again. It always does this. It happens to all the live streamers on YouTube, this jump. Monique saying, hey, Lex, with the game last night, the Raptors had Nick Nurse didn't even have to coach. If you get the joke here, it was laughable. Keep the focus on Malachi making shots, Chris slowly getting comfortable. What are you saying? Nick Nurse didn't even have to coach last night? I don't know if that's true. Russell Westbrook was on the court, and that's always somebody you still got to figure out. Yeah, I'd love to see Malachi get more time because he's making good shots lately, and Chris is a lot more comfortable. Like, it always happens. Chris is way more comfortable because he's doing such weird stuff that's like new that you don't see him do, and you're like, oh, Chris is doing the zone buster mid range in the lane, and I'm like, oh yeah, him being comfortable doing that, I love it. He's comfortable in a lot of different ways. Like right now, it's really interesting. His interview, highly recommend it. Last night, Name was saying we've got so many plumbers on this roster, they should start their own union. Yeah, we could be Canadian plumbing union. Logical Raptors fanatic saying, I believe Boucher went full out when we were injured, and he has a limit to stamina playing his normal defense and upping the offense to his old mindset. Hence him saying, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not totally sure what you're trying to say, Mike. As far as like he doesn't want to be that guy. I'm not sure. Fiercey, good to see you. Good morning, fam. It'll be a nice reunion between Rico Hines and his old team. That's right. Rico Hines was the assistant coach for the Sacramento Kings, and they'll be coming in next Wednesday. So we'll see. Like he'll have a lot of buddies. He has buddies on every team. Like if you notice after the game, there's usually somebody from the other team coming over to like embrace or shake his hand or something like that. Thomas Bryant, it was fun last night to see him playing against the Raptors because once again, he's very familiar with our team. And in some ways, this is what I said to Nako last night when we're watching the game. I said, Thomas Bryant's the kind of player I'd like to see in a Raptor jersey down the line in his career. That he is, I have a feeling about him. And this is the same feeling I had about Otto Porter and Kyle Lowry before. When Kyle Lowry played for the Houston Rockets, I said, this dude's going to be a Raptor one day. And I was right. Boy, was I right. Well, I said the same damn thing about Otto Porter when he was on like the Wizards way long time ago. This is probably around 2014. I said one day Otto Porter Jr. will be in a Raptors jersey. Mark my words. And it did come true. Well, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to make a prediction right now. Thomas Bryant will be in a Raptors jersey at some point in his career, guys. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because I just have that feeling. I sometimes have premonitions about players, and they're very usually right. Marc Gasol was another one. I predicted Marc Gasol would be on the Raptors in like 2011. I have a little bit of foresight. And that's part of the reason why I can predict things that are going to happen in games and things like that. Is there's a little bit of this. So I'm going to say right now, y'all can mark it down. Thomas Bryant, it may not be next year. It may not be 2 or 3 years from now. But I'm going to tell you, before his NBA career is over, he's going to be in a Raptor jersey. Yeah. And it was cool because he's very familiar with our guys from running all summer at Rico Hines with them. You saw him picking up our players off the court. He came over and picked PASCAL up off the court. And when there was a hard play where he got fouled and they were reviewing or whether it was a flagrant, There was no harsh feelings. In fact, they were palling around with him. Pascal came up to him and talked to him. He had his arm around him and said, "Look, man, I didn't try to hurt you." And he's like, "No, it's all good, Siakam." Because they did. They really do build up a friendship and a rapport just from playing those runs all week this summer. Those Rico Hines runs are a goodwill for the Raptors in some ways with other players around the league. Like, think about their relationship with James Harden right now from playing with him this summer at Rico Hines. So there's some real cool benefits from playing Rico Hines as a unit and then having so many other players in the league play out there with us. Well, they become our friends. And on the download, Thomas Bryant is very much a friend of the Raptors just because he worked so hard with them all summer. And like I said, I'll make that prediction. I'm going to have a premonition last night, and I think Thomas Bryant will be a Raptor at some point in his career. I was right about Otto, and it came true this summer, finally, after like 10 years of thinking it. I was like, Otto Porter's going to be a Raptor someday. Well, it finally came true. Let's see, because it was weird. If you look at my fantasy basketball team from like 2009, I had Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Jeremy Lin, and Mark Gasol all on the same team together at that time. And this is before any of them had Raptor jerseys on. That was my fantasy team in 2009, was our championship team. Was Mark Gasol, Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, and Jeremy Lin were on my fantasy team at the same time. It was crazy. It's really weird. Really, really weird. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, let's see. Bishop's here, 9KHH. 9KHH. I'm not sure what that is. 9K? 9KHH. All right, let's see. Duke Rock saying Kings are playing good ball. They've beat some good teams, mostly because they make their threes and use the pick and roll to perfection. Okay, that's a good early scout for me, seeing as I haven't really seen the new look. Kevin Huerter out there, of course, are making their threes, and Sabonis is great for pick and roll. So, yeah, I can see where they're improving. That Fox and those other guys that were already there are getting better and better alongside them. Harrison Barnes, there's a lot of interesting players out there. They got Keegan Murray as a rookie. Yeah, they're going to be fun to see and interesting. I'll scout them next week, but I'm not going to scout them now. But thanks for the early intel, Duke Rocks. Logical Raptors Fanatic saying Ibaka was solid in zone busting from the elbow. Boucher did work out with him during How Hungry Are You taping in Toronto. That's true. That's true. I did see that this summer, that Boucher was working out with Ibaka. And, yeah, I'm sure that he counsels him and teaches him stuff still. Ibaka's hilarious. This whole season of How Hungry Are You has been fantastic, especially the Fred episode, of course. But the Giannis episode is very interesting, too, obviously. Cool Cat saying Pascal is accustomed to opponents' game plan for him. Others on the team have to add more to their bag to combat the game plan. Yeah, OG's probably next in line up the escalator as far as like just taking what he wants out on the court and doing what he wants. Scotty, too. I mean, look, we saw more of it. Once again, Scotty can go to his spot in the lane and do whatever the fuck he wants when he wants to. He can put that ball in the hoop whenever he wants to, really. And that's very impressive and tough to do in this league, that he has those skills to do that. And we're going to see it more and more. Scotty's going to be the man. He really is. Like, he's so deadly with those shots near the basket. And it really is partly the humiliation of the Clorox shooting stars at All-Star last year with Tyrese Maxey. When he missed so many close shots like that, he got pissed at himself. And he really dedicated himself this summer to being really good around the rim in a way that will counterbalance how poorly he did in that competition. That he doesn't want to be known for that. So he overdid it. And that's part of the reason why he's making everything around the basket within 5 feet, 10 feet even of the basket right now. So it's really, really awesome. And I love that. And yeah, Pascal may be easier for him, but that's what I'm saying. He needs to challenge himself in more ways. Challenge himself by saying, I want to get this many points in this quarter, and try and like beat your challenge. Like, say, I want to get 15 points in the third quarter. Well, go out and get 15 points in the third quarter. Set little mini goals, because Michael used to do that. And if the game's too easy in certain ways, make a game within the game. And that'll make it, especially if it's a game that'll help the team win and what you're doing. So I really want him to do that. I'm a fun guy saying Kings match up awfully against us, just like Orlando and Kawhi year. We figured their system and own them since then, like how Boston figured ours out in the bubble and own us since then. I will not say that, fun guy. Boston does not own us. And they really haven't since the bubble. It's been very 50-50. We beat them just as much as they beat us since then. I think the records are very similar. Like, seriously, I think we're like they would be like maybe 5-4, where they're up 5 and we won 4 since the bubbles. Or it's more games, obviously, because we play them 4 times a year. But yeah, I wouldn't say that. Boston's figured us out. They really haven't. And in some ways, like what Nacho the Nacho said earlier, is look at how they played Phoenix last night. They figured Phoenix out way more than they figured us out because we got beat by less than they did. And that's what I'm saying. Phoenix got trounced. So I won't give them that. I'm sorry. I don't give flowers to Boston just recklessly. I can't say that they own us. No, 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 no. That's not good talk. But as far as like the other thing you're saying about the Kings, I hope this is true, that they don't match up well with us and we can pick them apart, and that we have had huge success against the Kings for a couple years now. And hopefully that'll still carry over, even though they're a totally different edition of them. They're not the same team that we saw last year in Sacramento. They got Luke Walton fired. There's a lot of team players that are gone, and there's new guys there. And that's the difference with the Kings right now. So I can't say for sure. I don't know for sure. I think we probably do match up pretty good with them. But until we see it, I can't say for sure. Monique's saying, just a reminder, the Raptors show live December the 12th. Go support if you can. Okay, so that's in 4 days. Go see Will Liu and Alex Wong and Chris Boucher. Live Raptors show December the 12th. You can go to it. Cool Cat saying PASCAL is not stats watching, unfortunately. He's focusing on empowering his teammates to get them going, but he has to think about his legacy. Yeah, it just struck me last night. I was like, look, this may be unselfish in some ways, but in some ways, this may be good for the franchise and good for you to actually start thinking this way to a degree. It's not totally selfish thinking. You got to find that balance, just like Lowry used to. Like he was able to do it where it benefited everybody. It benefited the team winning the game, and it benefited him getting the triple double. I just wish that he could do this. Like he doesn't even have to think about himself. Maybe one of the assistant coaches needs to really keep track of this and let him know, and just say, "Look, Siakam, if you get 3 more rebounds, you've got a triple double." Because he's so close on them so often. And I just think that he's really leaving things on the table that in the long run, he may regret down the road. Then be like, you know what? I was so close to getting triple doubles all the time. Well, they don't count. They don't mean anything if you don't get them. They count them. And you can ask, like, Jason Kidd is in the Hall of Fame because of his triple doubles. You know, it's like there's a lot of people that got into the Hall of Fame because of their amazing amount of triple doubles, and you could get them, and you're missing out. This is what I'm worried about. Fiercely saying, I can't wrap my head around why Dalano and Malachi are not being given minutes. I understand they're still in development, but we all start somewhere, and chances should be given to them as well. Yeah, Nick is weird. He's really weird. Like, he's very defiant about this. And maybe in some ways, this is the way he really motivates those youngsters. Is like, look, you really want to be in this level with these guys? Well, you're going to have to be like even better and better. I don't agree with it totally, and I don't get it either. I mean, especially Malachi, he's so far in his career at this point. He's what? He's in his 4th year or something at this point. Like, what the hell is going on with him? Like, why is he not getting more? He's in his 3rd year. Why isn't he getting further along in his 3rd year at this point? Dalano, he's just a really good weapon. I don't understand. I mean, I guess Dalano, he can cause turnovers and make mistakes, and he's still green. But Malachi shouldn't be. Like, if he's not having to play at G League, he should be playing somewhere. If he's not playing at the G League, he needs to be playing somewhere, and on the main roster would be the other place. Monique's saying, not Raptors news. It is true. Warriors lost last night. Did the Warriors lose last night? Yes, they lost by 1 point to the Utah Jazz. Wow, that's pretty interesting. The Warriors have the same record as us. Actually, they're lower than us now because we had the same record yesterday. We won our game, they lost their game, and that's impressive. We worry about where we're at in our season. Well, the defending champions have the same record as us, and in some ways, they look worse than us. So we can't have things too bad if that's the case with the Warriors looking like that on the other side, and they're not even in the playoffs. They're not even in the play-in. So, yeah. All right. See, Cool Cat saying Malachi doesn't shoot well under pressure. He has more work to do. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he hit the couple of shots that he had last night. Mike's saying fiercely, we have issues defending the pick and roll, and Fred VanVleet is the only capable guard at the moment. So it's about room to have those losing minutes when in a blowout or against a weaker team and even competition. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting this more and more as far as like even when Fred's not playing well, why we play him is because there are so many intangibles as far as on the defensive end, leadership intangibles, just smarts intangibles, like just making good reactions in situations intangibles. There's a lot of that built into why Fred gets so much time, is that he gives so much intangibles. And I get that at this point, especially after the last couple games where he was really bad. I'm like, why are we playing him so much? Well, people are starting to point it out to me. Well, like Mike said, there's defensive stuff he's doing that is important to guard against the pick and roll. And if we don't have him out there, we don't effectively guard the pick and roll, is what they found, I guess. So Kareem saying, I want to see Alonzo Mourning come sit at a Raptors game, piece of shit. Kareem Thomas bringing the fire like last year. Sometimes Kareem Thomas would have just a fireball of a comment. And this is one of them right here. I love this. Yeah, fuck Alonzo Mourning. Yeah, fuck that guy. He would never come here and sit there. Like, seriously, what is he going to do? He's going to come there and everybody's going to get really mad at him. Like, I know I would. I mean, it's such a stupid thing. He got traded for Vince Carter and he was supposed to come here and he wouldn't come here. It was like, oh my gosh, Rob Babcock, you idiot. Fiercely South Sarah saying happy birthday to Tom. I love that. Everybody's celebrating Tom's birthday. Monique saying Mo Pete is Raptors' adopted son, and they still say it. 7 seasons with us fans still forget. You know, listen, Morris, real ones know who Morris is and what he means to us, and just how awesome and amazing he is. I love Morris Peterson. I always celebrate him. Cool Cat saying, remember how Nick operates. Try something with Koloko on offense and it works. Put it in his back pocket for playoffs. Return to blocking shots and rim protection. Big picture, don't forget. This is so true. Cool Cat's exactly right. Like a lot of the things we've seen that have been done good so far this year, it's not that he's not going to do them ever again. It's just that he puts them into the hard drive as a memory. And when he wants to replay them, he comes back and uses them later. And maybe sometimes he doesn't want to overuse something that's really good already, because he may want to utilize it as a surprise down the road and bring it out and crack it open when people least expect it. And I think this is exactly right. Like this part of the season is a fact-finding mission to go out and just try different combinations, try different things with players. And as he observes and sees different chemistries, different little things he can do, like a pick and roll with Koloko and Fred, he doesn't want to overuse it and let people figure out how to guard it too much right away. So it's like he's keeping it fresh and available as a weapon later on down the road to be employed in the scheme later. I think this is exactly right. What Cool Cat's saying is that he's kind of figuring out all the different things he can have in his bag of tricks, and he may not overuse them right away because he does want to use them later effectively when it really matters. So that's a brilliant observation, and she's exactly right. This is why he's doing it this way. It's like he could be beating them over the head with the pick and roll, just like Stockton Malone did back in the day, but he's not doing it. Why is he not doing it? Because of what we just said. Names is saying lost challenges are simply investments in Nick's minds. Sure, it costs him one up front, but may save him a few in the long run. Oh, you're saying losing the challenges. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're still so new in the league that a lot of the coaches are still trying to figure out how they can be used effectively in different ways. And they're not totally all figured out. It's very much a Wild West frontier, the coach's challenge. And like learning how to game it for your advantages in different ways. There's different ways of gaming it for different advantages. And it's just what you're kind of trying to accomplish in that moment. And maybe even losing the challenge sometimes is perfectly fine, but at least you made the argument and it's in the back of the head of the ref of the next time. And maybe it goes different just from challenging the last one, even if you didn't win the challenge, and be like, okay, well, he challenged it last time and this is similar. Maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. You know, that kind of stuff. It can be very helpful either way, even if you don't win. So yeah, I agree with this, Nameless. And this is really a subject that I want to really pay attention to and study a lot. Since I'm very focused on the refs on this channel, the referees are kind of my specialty in some ways, learning their personalities, learning what their tendencies are when they ref the Raptors, learning their history of whether they're like Mark Davis and they've cost us games. And just also, things with the challenge calls are very interesting to me, and kind of like learning over time, like like I said, when is the best time to use a challenge and for what reasons and on what kind of calls? These are the things I'm paying attention to. Fun guy saying, "Hey, bro, who is the Bulls franchise player? Is it Levine or DeMar? You mean right now?" I don't know if I could say. It confused me. I was like, "DeMar is the franchise player for the Bulls? What?" You know what? I think it's DeMar. It's just because in some ways he's broken records that were held like Jordan kind of level stuff. He's doing things in that franchise that they haven't seen since Jordan. So in some ways that kind of says that it's DeMar. Now it may be very confusing because Levine may be kind of equal in some ways to him as far as production and what they could possibly do on any given night. But I think with the longevity of DeMar being around for as long as he's been and him being more the leader and the figurehead, that it's probably got to be DeMar. But if you're really talking about franchise as far as who you value and you want to keep around the team, I have no idea. I really don't. But if I had to pick one, I'd say DeMar DeRozan. And I am a little bit biased. Mike's saying 2000 to 2006, not 2008, had to remember he wasn't in the playoff, the Bosch final run, still played in the playoffs with VC in the first Bosch playoff run. He's solid in my books. Well, Morris's career spanned from Vince into Bosch. Yeah, he got to play with both of them. And, he was really Bosch's second banana. Is very like DeMar and T. Ross in the early 2010s was very much like Vince and Morris Peterson. A very similar kind of pairing kind of up of two players together. Vince Carter, Morris Peterson, DeMar DeRozan, Terrence Ross. And kind of, the way that they kind of worked off each other and stuff. But yeah, Morris is up there in a lot of stat categories, career leaders for our franchise. And, he was just such a solid dude all around. He did whatever we asked of him at different times. And it was easier for him earlier in his Raptors career because it was like they were in the playoffs. He was playing next to Vince. But then he had to weather through that really crazy transition with all the bad stuff in the middle of the 2000s. And then he was still around for the very beginning of Chris Bosh's career as a Raptor also. So yeah, Morris saw some different stuff, and him and Alvin were very much on the same team around the same time for a lot of it too. So he was very much a player that was with Alvin a lot. So let's see. Jimmy Pope's saying we just got to handle business with the next few games. Yeah, get these W's. Don't fuck around. This may be a slouch team, Orlando, but we're playing them on their home court where they may get home cooking with the refs. And, this is a 2-game series challenge. Can we sweep the 2 games against Orlando this weekend? Can we beat Orlando on a Friday night, a night we have not won a game on since the beginning of the season? We have not won on a Friday night since preseason. Preseason game, we won a Friday night overtime game against Boston. But we have not won a single game on a Friday night since the regular season started. That's not good. Mike saying when Boucher had that really bad, he said, I thought I was like a guy that could be like Siakam if given the chance. And when he got the chance, he didn't like how it felt. And he says he doesn't want that. Yeah, Boxing Day. Well, every guy wants to be Kevin Durant. They come into the league, they want to be the man. Well, they become smarter when they realize, okay, maybe if I become more like Dennis Rodman, I have more of a place in this league. And that really is like what he's doing. He plays like Rodman at this point. It's crazy what he's doing out there. I love what Chris Boucher is doing. Keep doing it. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I always wanted Thomas Bryant on the Raptors too. Same with that. See, Thaddeus was another guy. I was like, and someday maybe Thad will be on the Raptors. And boom, it happened. And I knew, actually, that one's not fair because I did kind of know that they were lusting to get Thad on the team for years now. So it made sense that Thad showed up. But yeah, Bryant's on this list of guys that I'm like, you know what? Masai's probably going to try, or Bobby Webster's going to figure something out, and they may get Thomas Bryant down the road. I could see it. Monique saying Delano's partnership with Nordstrom, giving away jackets to 390 plus kids. Keep it up, Delano. Thank you for mentioning this, Monique, because I would have forgotten about this. Dalano Bant yesterday went back to his old neighborhood out in Rexdale, and he gave out 390 plus winter jackets to kids in his old neighborhood. And it was so heartwarming and touching to see because it literally is like he's going to kids that were like him back when he was a little kid and giving back. And you could just tell in the pictures that he took this really seriously and sentimentally. and that he really got some really nice one-on-one time and connections with different little kids at this event. Like you see him in the pictures, you're like, this dude's not just there for a photo op. This means a lot to him, and he's really, really getting a lot from it himself. You could tell it was a very emotional thing for him. And I'm very proud of Dalano. I mean, I was talking to Naco the Nacho last night when we are watching the game, and I was saying basically, it's like I'm so proud of Delano, man, because like he is from Toronto, he represents Toronto, and he's doing such a good job, and that I am proud that he is the first Toronto player on the Raptors, and that what he's done, he's excelled and played way better than I thought he would as a second round draft pick last year. He is way better than I thought he would be doing, and I'm so proud of him, and things like what he did yesterday just make it even more apparent that I am very right to be so proud of him, because that was just such a special thing. And I know he got a lot out of it. And it's really important. He does stuff like that, especially in his old neighborhood, especially there. Cool Cat saying Thomas Bryant and PASCAL share the same agent, Life Sports. A lot of NBA players are friends and have good relations with each other. Boston loves playing us to test their systems. Yeah, all those Boston guys are very much, obviously they're friends with OG. They have friendships with different people on our team. I don't think they're friends with everybody on our team, but some of them are very friendly and good friends with each other for different reasons, whether it's because they played with each other when they were younger or whatever. There's always those kind of bonds and friendships all over the place. Scotty Barnes with different people like Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green. Fred's got his friendships. Pascal. Yeah, and that makes sense. Like if Thomas Bryant was at Rico Hines, it's partly maybe because he has the same agent as Siakam, and he said, "Well, Siakam's going to Rico Hines. You should go there too, Thomas." And it's like, okay, and yeah, so this makes sense. And I did really like to see the friendliness on the court last night between Bryant and the Raptors, as far as like he came over and he put his hand down to help OG up. I think at one point it was either OG or Siakam, and then when he got fouled hard on that flagrant foul, Siakam came and checked with him and said, "Look, you know that wasn't dirty or wasn't trying to hurt you or anything." In fact, Thad was protecting him when he was going out of bounds. Thad was holding him up and kind of protecting him from running into Nav Bhatia. So it's like, this is the thing. One of the things we got to remember is these guys are all playing with their livelihoods. And if they get hurt, it can really hurt them in different ways. And other guys on other teams don't want to see guys get very hurt seriously. So they do try and protect each other to a degree. And when you see Thad Young helping Thomas Bryant not get hurt going out of bounds, that's the epitome of what I'm talking about. Because none of these guys want to see any of the guys in the league have career-ending injuries or horrible things happen to them. So in a way, that's part of the code as a players is you want to protect the other guy and not let them get hurt. That's why when dirty shit by Embiid gets done, it's so antithesis of what I just described, is that dude's actually out there reckless and not protecting other people. In fact, he's endangering people. And meanwhile, Thad Young's protecting people by not going out of bounds. People say we're a dirty team, we're physical, we foul all the time. Well, we're also looking out for people and we do care. And, I wonder about Joel Embiid for that. Because it's kind of an unspoken rule. It's like you don't want to hurt other guys and like have guys hurt, because it's like we're a family in the NBA. We want everybody to be healthy and be able to play. And these are people's livelihoods. And if the shoes flipped on the other side, you'd want them to look out for you and watch out for you. So you should do it yourself. Let's see. Cool Cat saying Malachi's major defensive liability. Teams switch on to him. Banton has to work on taking care of the ball, gets stripped easily. Our standard quality has improved. Competition is stiff. I think this is a lot to do with what it is. Cool Cat, once again, is really on point today. That, Malachi may be some sort of liabilities in certain ways that we can't overcome. And that's part of the reason why he's so limited on this level in the NBA. And then Banton is just too wild at this point. He has to be reined in to a certain degree to be dependent on and not feel like he might screw up or have some problem where we screw up at the end of the game. So, yeah, I think this is right. Nick Nurse has a very high standard of quality of play, and the guys he really trusts and plays at that level of play, they get the minutes. And otherwise, there's a wall. There's just this is it. You're either in on this side or you're that side. And maybe I'll let you guys try out and come in every once in a while, but it really is, I want the best quality squeezed orange juice. So Mike is saying Cat and Lex on point with that. It's about surprise attacking with things from even years ago, play set wise, and he randomly busts things out and doesn't do it again, like the tip trap play. Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. I shouldn't even just think about this year. There's stuff from last year that he may not have brought out too much that he may just pull out of a bag from last year too. That's the great thing about continuity with your roster and having a lot of guys from last year. You have a lot more to look at and to source stuff from because you have a lot of body of work from last year too. Kareem saying they should have a Mo Pete night, give out headbands, and the fans put it on as a blindfold every time the quarter clock strikes 2 seconds during the game. Oh, Kareem Thomas. Oh man, you're awesome. Yeah, those purple headbands. I hate them. I have a bunch of them still. I have one in the other room still. Yeah, they were good and bad, but yeah, that's a hilarious idea. Once again, Kareem Thomas is the comedian, and I endorse any kind of jokes or anything. If you do stand up, I would come and see you. Seriously. Actually, y'all need to go see Naka the Nacho when he does stand up because he is a stand up comedian. And I'm going to have to go and see him very soon because I haven't seen him in a long time in action. I definitely need to come see you, Nako, at one of your shows coming up in the near future. And I'll reveal who Nako the Nacho is at some point. But we'll let the mystery stay unsolved right now. But you guys will find out who Nako is at some point. All right, this is a real quick overview of the game last night. Good job, Raptors, taking care of a win that you needed to get for sure. A short-handed Lakers without LeBron and stuff. You know, they had an interesting side on their side. Dennis Schroeder was their leading scorer with 18 points. Thomas Bryant, 16. Russell Westbrook, 16. Kendrick Nunn, really annoying. I was telling Nako how much I hate Kendrick Nunn last night, and I really do. I think he's a very annoying player. That Christie kid was a little annoying, too, that came in. And then you had Lonnie Walker, only got 12 points, so I'm glad I didn't play him on my fantasy team. Austin Reeves, annoying, but like still very mortal in a game like last night against guys like ours. And then on our side, fantastic game. First star of the game was PASCAL. Second star, Fred. Third star, OG. And then I could say fourth star, Chris Boucher. Fifth star, Scotty Barnes. Sixth star, Gary Trent. You know, there were a lot of stars in the game for the Raptors. Very happy and pleased with what they did. Okay, just coming up on 2 hours. So I'm going to wrap it up in these next 5 minutes. W Stream, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. So tomorrow, I'll be previewing the second game against Orlando in Orlando tomorrow. Hopefully, you know, we'll have some good news and different things, whether it's injury-wise with some of our guys that are hurt still, maybe something's new with Precious or Otto. Now, we did hear that Wancho is like 2 weeks away. So that's a little bit of new news I should add to things, that they are saying that Wancho is 2 weeks away at least. So he's not going to be back anytime soon. So just update on that. And Monique saying W stream only. Lex, let's go Raptors. Awesome. Keep at it. Always committed to the channel. Thank you, Monique. And your presence is always valued and very much appreciated. All right, y'all. If you did enjoy my reaction stream to the Lakers game last night, please hit subscribe and like or comment or, you know, share me or whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. Whatever you do, decide. All right, guys, have a great Thursday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the preview for the Orlando game. And let's just have a great weekend. Hopefully a weekend of winning in Orlando. All right, y'all, let's go Raptors.